25th, I'm going to call the Selectmen's Meeting to order. First order of business is to salute the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any public input?
Not right now.
Hearing none. I'll go to the minutes of our last meeting. First is the regular meeting minutes at 9 a.m.
I didn't see anything striking. I move that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
And the second is the non-public from 11:16 on the 25th.
Looks absolutely fine to me. I would motion that we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Police. Is the police coming?
Hope so.
Wow, we can actually see ourselves on the screen.
Handsome devil you are.
I was thinking about you. And there's a grouchy old man.
Coming, he's on the phone with the county attorney's office.
Okay. And you say fire's not coming?
Correct, he gave
Okay.
that thinking that he was gonna be out straight.
So I'll just read into the record what we all getting copies?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we all went to the island meeting on 7/9. Two of the officers of the fire department went with us. They also did a traffic detail in Norman Village Church for the auction there. The all hazards mitigation plan is,
One of those that will wipe down stuff there if you want to look at.
How many feet in elevation can that pump uphill?
Our pump is 500 gallons per minute. I think that particular area was like 50 feet up as far as it goes, but it does pretty well overall. But again, it's a small 500 gallon per minute pump as far as it goes. So it's not like a truck pump. It's 1,000 gallons a minute. So you have to, obviously, the more elevation, the smaller line that you would need and stuff like that to keep more pressure.
It's still a fair amount of water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it worked.
Yes.
Even better.
so you made mention about two signs that you got some sort of grant
Yes.
going on.
Back, whatever period of time, we had the Gopher grant that we had asked if the police department was going to apply for a cruiser or whatever. They didn't end up applying for a cruiser for it. They did get a certain amount of money granted, I believe, out of that, from what I read. And we inquired if, because we had two signboards that were in capital improvement down the road, and it got cut out. And we figured that was something that was able to go for in that Gopher grant, because multiple departments can use it. Police department, it would have radar in it also, so they could use it. We use it obviously for blocking off roads, traffic, and the transfer station, you could use them, announcing any events or anything like that is taking place there. After the all hazards plan obviously went through, we did learn that we were able to get that grant, and that just for it just has to be approved by the governor and council, but that is there. I don't know if the select board is still on board with
Well,
looking
what
at
is
that.
what would the town be responsible for?
I forget.
You had listed in this report that the line had a balance of $5,149.
Yeah, our line was, we're responsible for 10% of the purchase price,
Okay.
which was like 32,000 and change. We were awarded 29,000 and change, so that would leave us just over $3,000 that we would need to.
And that's for
purchase.
2 signs?
That's for 2 signboards.
Okay.
The only issue is that we have to either show that they're paid for, the whole amount, or show a purchase agreement saying that we will purchase it, and they'll issue a check after that. Obviously, that's going to put some line over. I did put one line in here from my emergency management side. For example, if you wanted to take it from the equipment line in emergency management, we could do that. But obviously, that line, when the total comes at the end of the year, will be, $32,000 over, because it's not something that we budgeted for.
So we have to pay for it up 100% and they get reimbursed?
That's correct. But, or would we show that, yes, the town wants to go for it, there's a purchase and sales agreement
Okay.
in place,
Yeah.
and we can go from there.
Sounds reasonable.
Well, I'm looking at the encumbered funds, and unfortunately, we're here in evening, so I don't have Kathy in front of me, but it's showing $5,204 encumbered on radio, 2-speed signs, and printer. So we should have encumbered funds enough to handle $3,200.
Okay.
I mean, but are you thinking the other 29,000 has to come from somewhere?
Yes,
Okay. then we
yes,
can do-
if we have to pay for it up front.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
But you're saying that we don't have to pay for it up front. We can give them a purchase and sale agreement.
That's what I read, is that you do purchase and sale, you show that, the selectmen show that, yes, that we're going to purchase this, we've done this purchase order for that, and that sounds like it'll be good enough to get the money coming.
Any reason we can't go that way? Do a purchase and sale agreement and then give them their 10% and then wait for the check to come in before we
I don't have an
delivery?
issue with it whatsoever, because it's money that I was never expecting to get.
Yeah, I think either way, obviously we should try to
We just need to do
pay
it,
later.
right, we just need to do it before 12/31 of 22.
Yeah. So why don't you get in contact with the sign company, and find out what they can come up with.
Okay.
Get it written up?
And they don't have to deliver until after, well, or the state's not gonna pay us until after delivery, is that the other?
It sounds like that they will pay you as long as the proper paperwork is in place,
Alright.
beforehand.
That's the,
That's the wording.
yeah,
And Cammy, we
Payment
gave,
of an award in the above amount will be made using your existing state vendor number once we receive governor and council approval. Excuse me. And when you provide documentation showing that the purchase is paid for or sufficiently obligated, such as with an invoice showing delivery or a signed purchase agreement that obligates the locality to make the purchase at a set price. So we can do that.
Yep.
So call the company, say we want to buy them.
Sure.
If they want the 10% from us up front, then we can easily
we can
do
come
that
up with that.
and see what happens. And
Okay.
if for some reason they say, well, we need to be paid 100% before you get them signs. then-
Right.
We have to have a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we can dip it out of another fund, but it's just, it would be nice to know when the state's gonna
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
pony
Yep.
up their part?
We gave you the original on the grant, the paperwork, thinking that we could print it out again, but the site's being really funky. If we could get just a copy of that.
Yeah.
But, sure, we'll follow up on that
Okay.
and go from there. Do
Okay.
you have anything further for?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Yeah, just check with, I mean, that's how I'm reading the encumbered funds, so just check to make
Okay.
sure that's right. Police.
Afternoon, chief.
I'm glad to hear the deer walked away.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What exactly is warm zone ethics?
EMS and warm zone, comma. It's like, what are EMS expected to do in a warm zone?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Ethics is a nice cut.
Punctuation's very important, it's
Yes,
right
it is.
there.
Well,
Let's eat grandma versus let's eat grandma, right?
oh,
Commas are important.
Yes, yeah.
okay. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry. You wanna read through your,
Well, I mean, obviously some things are down, but we were short, what, 5 months this year? Almost 6 months this year, 5 months this year. Last year at this time, we were short one person for 1 month, so, and it was during the summer, so it kind of cut. Some of that could explain why some of our activity is down.
Well, it's also possible that less things have happened in some cases, I mean.
That could be happening too.
The society could be cleaning itself up a little bit.
Doesn't feel like it today though, that's for sure. I've been
Okay.
running around like a run-on paper hanger. So,
your felonies are up though. That's how it's
yeah. I think, unfortunately, I think some of them are, people are falling for internet scams. So it's not like we can, can't go to Nigeria. Even the FBI doesn't have a whole lot of success with the Nigerian scams.
Right.
You got one right now. I was talking with the officer about why somebody would fall for it. I guess it's
Can't be
obviously
stupid.
photoshopped photo and
Grandma, family out of jail.
something like that. It wasn't quite. It was more like a photo of somebody expressing interest in someone of the opposite sex, suck them in to send money to other people. Supposedly for them though. But anyway, and it happens. But I mean, it unfortunately, this day and age is something you should, hopefully people don't fall for. The check and then send money back kind of stuff too. That's a few of those felonies, I believe, fall into that category.
How the internet made us stupid. Good article in Atlantic Magazine last month.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll look it up on the internet.
I had, yeah, there you go. I don't think they let it on there, actually. Speed stops, is that catching up? I mean, I can't really tell year to year what we're doing. I mean, I got passed on 171 this morning, and I was doing 45, so I was speeding. The Kia that
Confession's
went
good for
by,
your soul.
yeah, the Kia that went by me was really speeding.
Right. I mean, we're trying when we can, but I mean, I was it today, and at one point I had 4 calls at once. So, I actually had to call the sheriff's department for one of them. Molten Borough came to another, because they were all, I mean, I was dealing with unattended death, so I was waiting for the call from the ME and then the funeral home, I have to be there for that, and then meanwhile, somebody was acting weird down at Pier 19, that was the sheriff's department, was coming from Wakefield for that, and then meanwhile, there was a dispute on River Heights between somebody cutting trees for the co-op and one of the residents there. Very upset about some of the trees that were being cut, so that Moultonborough came to that, so.
And they got a lesson in rights of way.
Yeah, although, yeah,
Maybe both parties. can-
kind of both parties were probably a little,
It's not gonna get any better either when they start defoliating, that's gonna be even.
Yeah.
yeah, it's, I was a little surprised how they were doing it right in a residential neighborhood with one of these grinders on the side of
Okay,
so it was
interesting.
kind of not very cool in my mind. I thought you would have gone with a chainsaw and trimmed things up kind of neater and cutting trees, not just every bush. So,
Either way.
anyway, and also then they were down on County Road without any traffic control. And you gotta have you're out on the roadway blocking part of the road, you gotta have somebody with a stop, slow sign.
Somebody.
Yeah, so, anyway, but it doesn't excuse somebody not appreciating the fact that there's a right of way and there's a need for power to get through, not get interfered with, but, so, yeah, it was quite a spell this morning, which ends the afternoon, but anyway.
How we doing on the new cruiser?
So, the old cruiser has got everything taken off, as you probably saw out there. It still has the plates on it, because what I was planning on doing today, I didn't get to do it, was to call, I don't know, so typically we auction them here, like steel bid right here, come in. There's another option, which is to have it go through state surplus. They have an auctioneer come through. We bring it down there, it sits there, and then they have somebody come through, and they get, I don't know, I mean, we gotta get it there, I gotta find out the process for that,
That
but
sounds like a pain in the ass. I do, I
I get
auction,
crazy money
I-
down there sometimes for cars, so it's like, whoa.
I've been doing the auctioning at the county for
Yeah,
for the last couple of years, and I just sold a cruiser a few weeks ago for $5,000,
yeah,
used,
yeah,
well used,
Yeah, yeah.
75,000 miles. So, I
yeah.
do it on Craigslist.
Yeah, no, I've done that too. Announce it and put the ad that we
Yeah.
post around. I mean, that's what I was gonna ask up, because now what I need to do is obviously, I left the plates on that, to put them on, that's gonna go on the new cruiser. So if I was gonna take it down to the state auction, I'd leave the plates on, drive it down there and come back and then take them with me, so we could transfer it. That was where I was getting at, is if you want me to just do it here, fine.
Well, let's
I'll
find out how
register.
much the state auction's gonna tap the deal. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not gonna do it for free.
No, you pay a surcharge.
Yeah, you got,
Yeah.
so it's a percentage always or something.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's 20%.
So they get 20% of the sales proceeds?
No, if you say I'm gonna buy that car for 5,000, you have to pay 6,000. Because
Oh, they add it on to it's a buyer's premium?
the buyer's premium, yes.
Okay.
I went down there once, and I was looking to see what, and I was like, whoa, this is a few years back before things are as they are with cars, but,
Well, now this would take a minimum of an officer and a significant other to follow them down there. I'm not gonna say 2 officers, okay? That would be a minimum, right?
right,
Which means that an officer would be out of town
it's
for
about,
a minimum.
it's about 3 hours of officer time,
Yeah.
personnel time.
I
Or it could be 6 hours of 2 officers.
Right.
would just do it on Craigslist.
Okay,
Do it
that's
locally.
fine, it's what we've done in the past.
Are we in agreement on the
My
credit?
humble opinion.
I don't have an opinion.
Ooh,
Okay.
people just rolled over.
So that was all I wanted to run that offer by, but I hadn't had a chance to call them today to find out. You know, they do it, I mean, it's quite a show they put on when they do it, and they get, it's crazy. Some of the junk they sell that they get.
All right, so that process is the other.
So we'll do it here,
Is
that's
the other
fine.
cruiser all set to go?
I haven't heard back on the parts, the radio is supposed to be shipping soon, I heard. The one I ordered in January, December, yeah. Supposed to be shipping, it could be here this week.
Okay.
So, still waiting to hear. They said it could, originally when we had the bid pricing, they said it could take 4 to 8 weeks to get the parts. So we're still within probably 5 weeks from that, I think. So I will, once I figured out about the plates, I was gonna call them to, now just tomorrow I can get it swapped over, but, and then I can talk to them about when do you want this and where are you at with getting the stuff. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm still getting emails about the Melvin Wharf,
Melvin Wharf.
right, times of operation.
Mm-hmm.
One party, I don't know if it was you, said it was till 10 at night.
It's the ordinance. that
The
you
ordinance
guys-
says 10,
Yeah,
okay, but the sign says dusk.
dusk, yes it does.
So we need to change the sign
Okay,
to meet, at least to meet the ordinance, which is 10,
okay.
all right? I mean, we had a long discussion about it. Selectman Pike weighed in pretty heavily on it. And I wasn't aware of what the signage was at that point, or the ordinance. But I think 10 o'clock's fine, unless you have
I think we
some
should go
comment.
further. If we're gonna bring up that discussion again, I think that if somebody wants to go hornbill fishing at 11 o'clock at night, they should be able to go fishing at 11 o'clock at night.
I'm in total agreement with Bob.
Yeah, I think if you wanna put hours, I don't know, how do you make it subjective?
Yeah, how do you get, yeah, that's a good point. How do you go from swimming to fishing, for example?
You know,
You know, that means if somebody wants to go skinny dipping at midnight and it's open.
yeah, I mean, let's remember that it's in a residential neighborhood. It's not like it's, sitting out there in 20-mile
And
bay.
that's part of the issue is the neighbors
Yeah,
complain about the noise at times when people are down there.
So how do you address that?
10 o'clock. It's not too late at night and it's a time that we're still out and about that we can check.
yeah.
You make it 11, then we're not gonna be out and about checking it probably. So if they call in at 11:30, there's people down there at that time.
And we don't have signage at the end of Melvin River Reach there.
Oh, you mean lake? No, we don't have that. No.
So they
No
can
sign.
fish down there. I mean, the boat launches don't have a time limit on them. That's my position is,
Well, the ordinance says 10. We have an ordinance.
Yeah.
It's in place.
I'm not gonna outweigh
It's,
you two guys. If you firmly believe that an unlimited fishing policy should happen at Melvin Wharf, then let's.
Well, that would also include Union Wharf, in my opinion. Same deal. That's where I was always going, probably down there and getting. But we have an ordinance that says 10 o'clock.
It's an ordinance, it's an ordinance set by the selectmen, and so it hasn't, never been presented to the town, so you could always change it at any point, it's not. It's kind of like so the selectmen have the power to control the use of town property, unless there's an ordinance voted on by town meeting or state law. And in this particular case, there's no, neither of those apply, so there was presented and 10 o'clock is what was agreed upon, so that's kind of how it is, but, so you can change it.
It's been that way for quite a while.
Been that way for several years, yes,
Yeah.
but, I mean, it's within your powers to change that.
So the fishermen weren't breaking the ordinance, but the sign said.
Well, they were breaking the policy, the guidance by the selectmen's regulations on using the dock.
They weren't in violation of the sign. I thought they were out in.
Well, they were, 'cause they were after dusk.
They are in violation of the
I'm
sign.
sorry, yeah. They were in violation of the sign that had no authority.
Okay.
I wanna be
It does.
respectful of the neighbors. I don't, I don't think people should be whooping and hollering and splashing, late at night, but, somebody should be able to go fishing if they want to, if they're doing quiet activities.
Well, if there
I
were
don't know how
kids
you
there,
word it.
kid might have hooked the horn out and given a little scream like excited kids will do. I mean, the kids, they were supervised. It wasn't like they were there alone. Maybe we need to give this more thought. I'm not sure yet now. I'm starting to.
All right, we don't have to make a decision today. I just
No.
want to see, it's still out there.
So the sign, to be clear, the selectmen can set signs for use of town, like the park, and that's what that sign is about.
Well,
So
and
you
at the
can
very
change it.
least, I think we ought to change the sign to read what the ordinance
10 o'clock, yeah.
states.
Yes.
10
We don't kick anybody out till start looking at 10, and we're going in at 11, so it's time we can pass around them all and make sure everything's quiet before we button up, you know? Sorry, but,
No, I appreciate that you don't overreach the ordinance, but it's not being informative to the public if it's not
Right.
stated
Yes.
clearly what's going on.
but I mean, clearly if it says it's only open till dusk, and you're there at 10, you're well beyond it too, you know what I mean? You've gone beyond what the sign says.
If you kicked someone, if someone was removed from fishing or whatever at 9:30 or 10 o'clock,
Yeah,
I'm just saying, if they
Right.
were,
yeah, that'd be wrong.
that would be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
But I think it was after 10, my understanding it was after 10, like
I'm
10:20,
sure.
I think it was.
at any rate, I think the signage needs to be clear,
At least match the ordinance.
yeah, and then we'll discuss the ordinance, because I don't think we'll come to.
And do you have the authority to exercise discretion?
Sure, but I'll tell you, we'll have the neighbor, he comes down and says, why aren't you enforcing, the neighbors down there sometimes will be like, why aren't you enforcing this? You know what I mean, we get that.
Maybe you should come in and talk to us.
Well,
Well,
I
they
think
do
that
sometimes,
they
they
did
have.
exercise discretion, I don't think anybody got a ticket.
No, yeah,
No.
we just tell them what the ordinance is and kind of say, come on,
If they call you a second time, you guys are out.
then we, yeah. But it's just kind of telling people what the ordinance is my understanding, that's how I always do it, and I don't necessarily, I'm not sure that I'd be going back through as long as they're being, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You're exercising discretion.
Yeah, so I mean,
All right, and it's been rather warm the last week or so.
very hot.
Any issues at the public beaches?
So I'm hearing from Dennis that there's been an issue out on Cow Island, I don't know how we're gonna address that.
Okay, what's the issue?
I'm unfamiliar.
Huh?
I'm unfamiliar.
So we have a beach on Cow Island, it's in a cove,
Right.
we got it through taxes or something at some point, we got it, I think, with the subdivision. The two neighbors on the sides for years, I've been here 23 years and have had to deal with this in the past, are not real happy that there's a town beach right there. One of them in particular, there was a prior selectman who went out there with his wife to because we allow camping on that part of Cow Island on our, I think we have 100 acres or something out there.
Yeah,
And they have to get a permit, they have to notify the fire department, they can have a fire in a fire pit that's out there. Years ago, before everything was set up, one of the selectmen went out there and the neighbor comes over, oh, what are you doing, this is our beach. And they'll put boats over there, and
trash.
trash and stuff, and claim it's their beach when it's town owned and town beach. There's a fire pit, somebody has been working with Dennis he goes out there a lot of weekends to camp out there and he fixes it up and then comes back and a few days later and it's ruined. And what Dennis told me today, there's glass on the beach, somebody threw some glass on it. Believed to be one of the neighbors, but we obviously haven't caught them or seen them or anything.
Yep.
And obviously if they're there, they probably would not do it if they knew somebody was out there, that wait till everybody's gone.
Right.
And I think from what I heard, they're there like a lot. It's not like they're just come up a weekend and do something. They're like, you know, they would be here like maybe today even, you know what I mean? Nobody's around now, you know? So we've
So we
talked
need to build
about,
a ranger station out there and have it permanently staffed? Is
I
that
don't
what's
know,
gonna happen?
we're gonna have to do something, but I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but
Game cameras.
that's a possibility, is something like that. Apparently now it's gotten to, they put glass out there on the beach to,
Yeah, well, that's assault. That's dangerous stuff.
there's been some issues out there in the past, but this is kind of gone. We put a sign up, it got knocked down, thrown in the woods one time, got put up again, and it got knocked down or disappeared. I think the sign out there right now is supposedly in there pretty solid. Like, that's not gonna just get knocked over. It's not gonna go with the wind, that's for sure. But it's probably one of the neighbors. And I thought today was, if I had a chance, I was gonna go out and have a chat
Yeah,
them,
I think it
but-
might be time for a boat trip.
but I was
So you-
up straight.
I saw you talking to Fish and Game, so maybe we can have them give you a ride, because we have free dockage at 19 mile per year. They should do something for us now and then. And I think, let's discover whether or not there's a Cow Island Association.
There's two of them, I think, basically.
I know there's one at,
Well, there's Islanders, and then there's like two other groups, two subdivisions there.
is it Idlewild?
Idlewild was one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I know that's an association, I just don't know whether they're.
I don't know about the other side, but we, so that's an ongoing thing that Dennis told me just today about the issues there. The other beaches, we've had, July 4th weekend, there was trash all, I saw Bill Graham taking the trash that Tuesday, he's picking it up. He said he picked it up Sunday, it was already overfilling by Tuesday. And it was a lot of alcohol containers, a lot of beer cans, a lot of hard lemonade cans, that sort of stuff, so. And I've told everybody to get out and walk. I've kicked a few people from I kicked them out. I told them they had to take the beer off the Melbourne Wharf. There were about 7 of them out there drinking one hot afternoon, so.
Well, there's plenty of other places to go drinking, they can go drinking up on
Yeah.
Dan Hole Pond or something, they don't need to drink on.
But anyway, that's again, it's one of the ordinances, that's actually one approved at town meeting. So it's worded kind of tough to enforce, but anyway, I basically have told people, take them off put them in your cars, whatever. I don't necessarily kick anybody out, but I tell them, can't be out here drinking.
Yeah.
And it's not like I go through coolers, I'm looking for somebody that obviously that's,
Got one in their hand.
one in their hand, it's pretty obvious. But I don't go sniffing Solo cups or anything like that, I'm not doing that.
Well, I guess it's just gotta be part of the route when it's,
We have
when it's hot.
been,
because
we're checking it a lot.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just,
gonna happen over and over again.
and I go out and check it because they've been taking the picnic table out at the end and they've been jumping off that, and like I told Dennis has moved it, it's back out there again. So he's talking about maybe having to chain it or something, lock it up so it doesn't go out there, because they had little kids, I had an adult jumping off with his kids. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
You're gonna break our table and stuff, that's not a dive.
They're gonna lose the picnic table is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and then he did put cones up because we had people that were driving out on Melbourne Wharf. I didn't see a real need for that, so they put cones up there to stop that. And so it's
the
been,
water will stop, pretty.
yeah. So they've been, and I've been checking Lang Pond. I haven't seen any issues there. Been a few people there, but I haven't seen any issues. And like I said, 19 and Melbourne are the two that we obviously could check as we go along. And I told people to check them as long as they're not busy with other stuff twice a day to
Yeah.
check them, especially supper time, lunchtime, because that's probably when people are out there.
Right,
And then usually at night to make sure nobody's out there late at night, coming home, whatever. So we have been checking them, but in between, and like I said, I'm not gonna go through cups and stuff. Right. I mean, but if I see anything obvious, it's like, hey, come on.
yeah, I think what you need to start mentioning to some of these people, especially non-residents that are out there doing that stuff, is that other communities close by have closed their beaches, and we haven't.
Yeah.
And if bad actions keep happening, we're gonna be forced into a situation where people are gonna say, close the beaches. I'm not a real believer in that, but it's not the local residents generally who are messing up that badly.
So down in Melbourne Village at the wharf there,
Yeah,
so yes, it is the neighbor who complains about the people late at night, but there's some cabins there that are rented out, like Airbnb type stuff, but by the week. And a lot of those people act as if that beach is
private.
part of that. No, they're not private, but they'll go out, use it and leave their stuff, It's like,
Yeah,
They take full liberty.
and a couple times, years ago, they've stopped now since they put a mooring out, but before they had a mooring, in front of that first cabin there, they would tie their boat up to the, somebody would rent the cabin and tie their boat up to the wharf, and I was like, yeah, no.
Does Hawkins still own that?
I don't know who
The
owns it.
red house gallons? Used to be Wayne Hawkins.
Oh, Hawkins.
Yeah.
Could be.
I don't know, but it seems like the ones that were drinking on the, some of them were out there still, but four or five of them were walking away, early mid-20s, college age, I would say probably even. They're walking away up the road. They didn't have cars, so they were staying someplace local. You know, walking away with the beers, say, you guys can't do that down here, and they were going anyways, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did notice they didn't have any cars, they were staying someplace right there, and I know several of those places are rented.
Right.
So, but, so it is, some of it is kind of local too, but you understand the whole resident versus non-resident type thing.
Just need to be
Well, I don't
respectful.
consider people that rent Airbnbs to be even quasi-residents. They're visitors. They come from away. You know,
Yeah.
just
But, that's, so we have been checking as best we can, but like I said, today I was out straight, I didn't get a chance to even stop in any of them. But, try, and I know I do, twice a day typically, check them, and I get out and walk around. Cause I mean, like I find the fish hooks that some fishermen have left on the thing, I don't want somebody getting their foot or stuff like that, so. I look for other things that might be hazards, so.
So cruiser, we're selling the cruiser. You're gonna get a ride out to Cow Island someday. And make sure your officers are in on this, checking the beaches. It's not just you.
Oh yeah, no, they've been, I need to maybe make sure it's clear
Yeah,
in some ways.
clear it up.
Is that white Mercedes still parking down at Pier 19?
Yeah, he's got a disabled tag. So he can park there.
We have spaces there for disability tags along the fence.
He'll be there all
So the
summer.
sign that says no overnight parking, that doesn't mean
Doesn't
anything?
apply to the disability.
Applies to everybody except for the they have a plate.
Okay.
So.
That's, again, in the whole big parking package ordinance thing about use of town property. Because it went beyond just, it covered all the parking lots.
Right.
It's someplace in the,
And,
I'm sure I've read it.
it's.
yeah, and it's just a simple case of someone abusing the disability plate. There's no reason that car should be there all summer. That person, whoever it is out on an island someplace, not alone.
Right.
They go to the grocery store. They have other ways of getting around. There are other people involved. They're abusing the situation. There might be someone who's looking for a parking spot for a day to go for a boat ride with their.
The
Yeah.
problem is we are kind of obligated to provide some place for disabled to park and have access. And when I first started here, 23 years ago, I raised the same issue. What do you do with parking here all summer and stuff? Well, sometimes I come back, I get my boat and from here, and I need to be able to get to my boat if I go to a store or something. And under ADA, they started throwing ADA, and I was like,
No, there's no obligation for us to provide ADA parking on the wharf that extends for any
okay,
extensive period of time.
but we need to provide it someplace.
Park up on the other end of the bay. Plenty of parking there, we could paint out a couple of spots.
Okay.
You know, that's all I'm
know,
saying.
I know,
is
I
that,
know.
you know,
I was trying not to get.
This is one person with some sort of mobility issue who's eliminating anyone else with a mobility issue from accessing that spot. That's the problem I have with it.
If they have if they're there, chances are, I'm not saying they do, but chances are that they have a boat slip at Pier 19, and if they have a boat slip, they have a parking spot at the store.
Yeah.
Comes with a parking spot.
I understand that. I don't know. I don't know.
It's the age we live in.
Could always ticket him and let him challenge it and see where it goes.
Could.
Anyways, far more important things to talk about.
Okay, and job reviews, we're still waiting.
Yeah, I'll get on those.
Okay.
It's only been like a year and 4 months since they've been here. I'm not pushing you on that.
Well, I'm not. Anyway, yeah, I know.
And you're back to full staff all the time or just part of the time?
Yes. Other than when like somebody needs a day off for this, that, yes.
Okay, but nobody's out on.
No, nobody's out on extended leave, no.
Okay. Anything else for the chief?
I'm all set.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Cool. I mean, temperature wise, I don't want you to be cool. Thank you, chief.
Thank you, sir.
The next item for business is Bill Jolly of Steadfast Benefits, really?
If he's here, I don't see him. Transfer station's supposed to be here too.
And all my friends turned out.
I don't see anybody.
John Prine.
I know the song. It's, and Tim and Gavin's supposed to be in at 5:45, so we got some time here we can play
What in the world will be without
with and,
John Prine?
I don't know.
Where's your secretary?
And we'd all have your little smiles.
Is anybody here?
No.
Okay. Let's go to the signature file, try to get some of that.
Okay.
First item for signature is a temporary mobile home certificate of occupancy for map 30, lot 226.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It only requires one signature.
That can be you.
And the next is a request for change of employee compensation. And this is for Caleb Hoteling. That's right.
It's a new hire.
Is a new hire for beach maintainer. Nice. 15 hours a week, Thursday through Wednesday. Payday is Tuesday for $20 an hour. Hired by Dennis Silverville.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next is an abatement, and I've got a question on this abatement. This is for lot 15226, which, when I did the math, comes out to almost an acre. It's less than an acre. But the previous assessment was $48,400. And RB Wood and Associates wants to revise that assessment to $120. And I don't know why.
They're cutting it by almost 2/3, is that what I'm getting?
No, they're cutting it from $48,000
$1,000?
to $120,
The assessment.
the assessment. Now, even if it's in current use, well, if it is in current use, or has been put into current use, then we need to have some documentation.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. We need more information on that one.
Okay. Are you okay with that?
Can I see it?
Yeah.
But yes.
I looked at it and I wasn't totally clear on it.
It's a
You're
lot
right.
that is part of the next series of things we're gonna sign.
Yeah.
I see.
That's not,
That's not enough money.
More information.
Okay, the next item for signature is the selectmen's deed. And it is from the town of Tuftonboro to Sandy Lyon, Ayers, and Victoria Lyon for tax map 15, lot 3, subdivision lot 5.
Motion to sign?
second for discussion.
Okay.
Elaborate, please.
Okay, these are lots, there are 4, I think we've got to sign here that we're taking for taxes. The taxes have been paid, so we have to issue a new deed.
Okay. Taxes have been paid, they're getting their
deed back.
deed back, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next is a selectmen's deed to the same party for tax map 44, lot 2, sublot 13.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next is to the same party for tax map 15, lot 1, sublot 22.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And finally, to the same party, lot 15, map 15, lot 2, sublot 23.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And now we have an agreement and release pursuant to RSA 674:41 between the town and Dwayne and Patricia Austin for land on Sandy Knoll Road. This is a petition to get a building permit on a Class 6 road. So they're gonna be building past Class 5 portions and
Right.
all. And the conditions therein, so they're gonna agree to maintain the access road, minimum travel width of 12 feet, 4-foot shoulders, take care of any damages to the road so that fire and ambulance can access their property when they build their house. But they're also indemnifying the town for losses and damages. And this is a notice of the limits of municipal liability and responsibility with respect to Class 6 roads.
This is something that we've done before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You have to do it. So we actually did it on Willand Road last time, I
Mhm.
think that was the last one we did. So if somebody wants to build a house on property they own on a Class 6 road, they have to take responsibility for maintaining the road to that point, and also release the town from liability for not being able to get out there or whatever.
Okay. So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good to have Donnie back in town.
So, can I get you to witness these, Kenny?
Yep.
Sometime later?
Yep.
Okay. The Joint Law Safety Committee has finished their work updating the rules and regulations subject to, of Section E, Section O, and Section S, corresponding to their personnel policy. They added masks as an item under personal protective equipment and changed some commas, but there's been no other major changes to this, but we have to adopt the safety policy by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Sorry.
Somebody showed up.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bill Jolly.
Is that Bill Jolly?
It is I, Jim.
A little bit early.
Yeah, sorry, you want me to walk around the block?
Hell no.
Okay.
We're ready.
I'm ex-military. We're always early.
5 minutes early, and then it moves down, right? So it's a half hour early for the 4 privates, right? And they're just sitting around wondering what to do. And they get yelled at for being there too early.
On a submarine, it was always 15 minutes for watch turnover.
What was your rate?
Machinist mate.
I
Nuke.
don't know how you guys did. You were a nuke?
Yeah.
You still glowing?
No.
It was a good re-enlistment bonus, though. I remember I was a CB, and we were pretty jealous of the Submariners.
All right, So Mr. Jolly, you're up.
You're all set, sir?
I'm all set.
Thanks for having me again, appreciate it. Last time we came in, I had the luxury of being able to review that video, and I realized that I probably wasn't communicating. I was getting a little too 30,000 footish and maybe not down to the granular level like you guys might have appreciated more. So I apologize for that if what I was putting out was a little too crazy. Just to refresh your memory, I'm Bill Jolly. I'm an independent insurance agent. My company is Steadfast, service disabled veteran-owned small business. One of my flagship companies is these guys. It's Colonial Life. They're a good company, and they would do a lot of work with municipalities and local government, also states. That there is just a document that would be given out to your employees if you wanted to offer them these benefits. It lists the different benefits that they could take advantage of, and it kind of explains why they might be of use to the employees. Okay, that's really, you can keep it that simple, keep it super simple, KISS method, right? To get back to the higher level stuff, I did want to drop this off with you folks and then answer any questions you might have about benefits in general. This is a white paper that was done through a private organization. Colonial paid for it, but they had a bunch of smart kids in lab coats go out and kind of look at the recruiting challenges and the retention challenges that employers can face. And so it's just some light reading for the bathroom, but basically what it says is that and while Chip, you mentioned last time when I was here that you're a small town, and so a lot of this may not be relevant. The relevance would come in two parts. The first part is that you are trying to recruit and retain employees because you do have a mission to accomplish that requires help. The other piece of it is that these employees or potential employees could be getting approached by larger organizations, and it helps for you to understand what the attraction might be for them to go somewhere else. Okay, so that's why I get into that level of discussion sometimes, and I don't think I expressed that properly. So I just wanted to throw that out there. When employees get their health coverage, that's important to them. Obviously, that's one of their basic health insurance and retirement, right? Those are going to be the basics. But beyond that, to have more robust stuff available to them, that's where a guy like me can come in. And so that's why I've been approaching you guys about this. I have been doing it with larger towns and smaller ones. So with that, I'll leave it kind of where I'll leave it there, because I covered a lot of this with you before, and maybe you had questions, and to be mindful of your time, I wanted to make sure that you had ample time to ask me any questions that you might have.
So this is generally paid for by the employer?
No,
Okay.
that's entirely up to the select board, okay? So it can
But I
be,
mean,
generally, no, not generally, no, oh, you mean with other communities?
Yeah.
It varies,
Okay.
and it's about 50-50. You can do what we call, in air quotes, a benefits bank, where you tell the employees, look, we're gonna give you X number of dollars per month, whether it's $50 or $100 or $10, whatever the number might be. And anything else you want beyond that budget is up to you. Or you could tell the employees, look, these are really good benefits. They're things that you can avail yourself of to take care of you and your family. And if you want them, we're gonna handle it through payroll deduction, 100%. So it's either way.
Yeah, I'm not, because we're kind of part-time executives here, so
Right.
it's hard to know everything. I mean, I know Aflac's in the building. I don't know how this conflicts with that.
Well, Aflac has similar products. I tend to be a little more competitive, but that's a separate issue. It'd be parallel to that.
Yeah, I just don't know whether is that a contractual obligation? I mean,
Not
do you
generally,
take
no.
The Aflac,
I do.
you sign up for a year, or you sign up for 10 years, or you
No.
sign up for a month.
It's a month-to-month payment.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a weekly payment.
Yeah, okay, so it'd be similar in that respect, where the employee can choose to keep one or the other or both. And so in that case, what I oftentimes do is I sit down with the employees and I do an apples for apples comparison. When I started in the business in the 80s, we had, I was with John Hancock, right? It was a big company. I got home from the Navy. Guy picked me up, said, "I got a job for you." I'm like, "Good," because I know what I'm doing. so I went to John Hancock, and we would compete with the Prudentials of the world and all that. And oftentimes in that household, there'd be a number of different insurance companies. Sometimes you'd be more competitive, sometimes you'd be less competitive, and you'd tell the customer, well, you can pick and choose as you wish, you know. And it's kind of like that. Sometimes the things that we bring, or I bring in, are a little more competitive, some bells and whistles that I can introduce that aren't out there necessarily. But really, I'm very comfortable working alongside them.
Yeah, I think we need to have input from our employees.
Probably canvass the employees, see if they'd like to talk to Bill about something, and then we could set up a deal where they could,
Yeah, I mean, we
Go ahead
can
and
set
do
a
it.
room up, that's not a problem.
right?
But to save Bill some time as well, I mean, if there's no interest or,
Right.
then there's really no sense in setting up a room. But
Well,
if there is
if
interest,
one person's interested, then I would come up, I mean, that's
Yeah.
the only requirement in that respect. The one thing I would suggest is that I could offer, if you guys can hand it out through your email, internal emails, or however you guys communicate with the employees, just a flyer that would have an expression of interest, and it'd look kind of like this, but it would have check marks on what the person might want, and then they can just fill it out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think that's, yeah, it's easier from our perspective, because I don't think, well, we do annual budgeting, so it's a
Yeah.
little difficult to start,
To introduce a new benefit.
right,
Yeah, absolutely.
right. So I think they need to know and we need to know what the costs are, and then we could have the discussion of whether or not that cost was,
On them or on us, for example,
or
or
worth
competitive.
it for us to,
Right,
to
to do it,
improve
yeah. Sure.
employment possibilities.
Well, that's what we need to do then.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Well, thank you. That's all I needed, and I appreciate your time, guys. Okay. Cheers. Thank you.
So long, have a good day.
You too.
Cheers. Better the hot sun.
Yeah, I know. This keep getting these sunburns. I don't know where they keep coming from.
Hat all the time.
I know. So long. Take care.
All right. Tim Galvin, or it's Galvin, I think, is it not?
Just like the Secretary of State for the Commonwealth of Mass.
This is something I would never
I
have known.
Wouldn't brag on that too.
Years.
All right, so you're up. What would you like to speak to us about?
You guys called me, so the question is, what would you like to speak about?
We called you.
No, we invited you to share your thoughts,
Okay,
because you seem to have a concern.
so I take it then that you've all read the email that I sent to Bob.
Yes, I did anyway.
Yeah, I think I did as well.
Okay.
I'm looking at it.
So the question is, the how do I want to say this?
You can
The
come up
thing
to the
that
table.
The thing that I put to Bob was, there seems to be some degree of disparity in information that is put to the town website. And I say that based off of the response that I get from Candy. So I'm going to now back the tapes up a little bit and ask you, what is the purpose of the town website? What's its charter, its genesis? What do you three folks see as its purpose?
Okay.
I see some baiting here.
No baiting, it's a legitimate question.
No. Your question is why are all of the minutes from all of the different committees not on the website? That's my understanding of the question.
That's what started it. The question is, as I put it to Kenny and put it to Bob, is there a policy that standardizes the information that is put to the town website?
No.
Okay, and if you read the response that I got from Tammy, because there's no policy, because there's no uniformity, different boards do things differently. This is not a 91A issue. This is a town policy issue to standardize the information that's put to the town website so that it is not incomplete. That's the question.
Okay. And that's looking at town government and RSA's very simplistically.
No, not really.
Yeah, it is really. We cannot direct the zoning board of adjustment to do anything. They are actually a quasi judicial board which would bring action against the selectmen on various occasions for any number of reasons, and has to have an arm's length agreement with them, or arrangement with them.
I understand. I
So-
ran a zoning board for almost 2
Okay, So then
decades.
you must understand that we're not gonna direct them to put their minutes. We can advise them that they should, we could encourage them to do it, but we're not gonna put it in policy, because we can't.
And all due respect, I'm not sure that's correct, having read some of the more recent case law on that very issue.
Well,
The-
maybe the cases have changed, but.
The town has, we can stipulate, the town has control over it being a forum. It's not intended to be a forum, I get it, nor should it be a forum. But as a place for folks to be able to go and get or access the information, even of a quasi-judicial board, it seems to me that that is a very appropriate place to put consistently those minutes.
It's a convenient place.
It certainly is a convenient place. It's a very simple place to put it.
I'm not sure we're required by RSA to have a website.
We're not.
You're not.
And we're not required to keep our
And you're-
minutes out there.
And you're not required under the law to, under 91A, to put anything out there.
Right.
The question becomes, in having a full understanding of what the RSA is and what some of the more recent case law is, as I said to Bob in the email, does the town want to for the purpose of simplicity, efficiency, and transparency, go beyond the minimum standard of the RSA, which is keeping the notes in the notebook,
Right.
and make things more accessible to folks without having to encumber anybody in terms of workload? I mean, the reality is, in a time and age where information technology is used to manage and efficiently transfer and dispose and disseminate, to be doing double work is kind of silly. But that's a separate issue.
Well, just so to clarify that point, ZBA minutes are taken by hand. They're not taken electronically. This is the fellow who films most of the meetings. Do you film the ZBA meetings?
I feel what?
Do you film the ZBA meetings?
Only if something was important was going on, along
So
with
it's,
all the other ones, the last 17 years.
so
All-
anything that Joe has taped is gonna be up there on the interweb. So that's there for anybody to see. But the minute taker does it by hand. So it is a matter of that person putting it into some sort of electronic format.
Well, that's easy. I mean, I'm sure we've got scanners that can take our handwritten thing and convert it to a PDF and push it. That takes about 30 seconds, Chip. So
Right.
please, I mean, that's not that big a deal.
No, but find somebody that wants to direct that. I mean, the problem you don't, I think, get a real clear handle on is we're dealing with volunteer boards. It's hard to get volunteers to be on boards. And when you start putting more and more directives at those volunteer boards, you have fewer and fewer volunteers. So I see this question that you're talking about as absolutely reasonable. We should provide as much information on our website as we possibly can. But I have to balance that with the reality that we need to keep the boards fully staffed. And I'm not gonna take this issue and create a problem with my ZBA. So we'll talk to the ZBA about it, because you've talked to Bob.
I don't think we need to talk to the ZBA. I think if you have an issue with the ZBA's minutes, I think you should ask
That's
yourself to a
another
meeting of the
alternative.
ZBA.
Yeah, you could talk.
And let them decide what they want to do.
Well,
with
I
their
asked you for Mark's email and I never got a response.
You did not ask me for
Or
Mark's
maybe I
email.
asked Gary. I'll take that back. I asked Gary. But it's a question of, does the town want to standardize the way they're doing things to make it transparent and efficient for everybody? That's the bottom line of the question. I understand that getting people to do stuff with boards can be tricky, but I also understand that this is a question of management. And management in terms of standardizing the way information is made available is not gonna make people run away from volunteering from the board. That I will guarantee you.
This is, politics is the art of the possible. This is not a big issue from my point of view. Maybe it is from Bob's, I know it is from yours. We work slowly but consistently towards a more efficient government here in Tufton Borough. But it doesn't, we're not autocrats. We can't demand that something happen without consequences.
Well, I understand that, but I've been involved with enough municipal government over the years to understand that in making a policy that standardizes the way all of the information coming to the town through its boards and its committees for the purpose of dissemination and public access is not going to make people run away from volunteering.
If we're not meeting the RSAs.
I didn't say that.
Let me finish. If we're not meeting the RSAs, I would appreciate you bringing that to our attention. We're obligated to do that, and we're obligated to remind our boards if they're not meeting RSAs. You're asking us to do something for convenience.
I'm asking you to do something that would benefit every person in the town from a position of standardizing the way access can be made easily available to public information. That's what I'm suggesting. That's what I suggested to you in that email. If the three of you don't want to do it, that's your decision. Not, like I said in the email to you, Bob, this is not a thing of being confrontational. It is a recommendation that's being made that the town look at all of their various boards and the way in which the information comes back from those boards and can be easily disseminated for everybody to access. If you don't want to do it, you simply say as a group, we're not going to do it. We're only going to stick to the minimum that the RSA says, which is they go in a notebook and the notebook is available and that's the end of it. If that's the choice of the board, my suggestion to you then would be you need to reconsider the public-facing website, because there is case law on the books that reaches into that issue in terms of once you start a practice and you start putting stuff to the public website, you need to continue it.
Which may, and none of us, although I've been here a long time, none of us has been here forever, but I remember when we first started being on the internet. I remember when we first established a website. That point you just made drives a lot of decisions. Okay, if we're only required to do X by RSA, but the minute we do Y, put stuff on the website, and for whatever reason, 2 meetings worth of minutes didn't get put on the website, but it's our common practice to put them on the website. Now all of a sudden we've got any number of local mavens showing up at our door saying that we're in violation of whatever law there is or regulation regarding maintaining the website. So sometimes you're better off just not doing it.
Well, then my suggestion to you would be, as a board, you need to consider reevaluating what is the purpose of the town-facing website. Because if your fear is that you're going to get into the past practice argument, one way or the other, then maybe that should come down. Maybe it shouldn't be there for people to access information that's available and going on about the town. If the desire of the board is to go beyond the minimum requirements of the RSA, which we all know what the minimum requirements are, which you obviously do because the selectmen's meetings are consistent, the agricultural committee meetings are consistent, there are 3 or 4 others that are consistent, and there are some that are not consistent, then that's a management question. That's all I put in, that's all I'm suggesting to you in the letter that I sent to Bob, based on the response that I got from Cammy at Bob's request.
Okay.
So, personally, do I think it's a smart idea? Yeah. Do I have any control over it? No. You guys decide as a board what you want to do. But I think it's both reasonable and efficient to standardize the way that the information is coming back in and getting put out to folks.
I gotta ask, how did you end up singling me out to send me the initial email?
Because your email was the only one that I had.
Fair enough.
Did you have something you wanted to add?
Not yet, I'll wait.
Because I mean, last point, I'm not gonna drag this horse through the mud too much further, but Bob's brand new. I've been here, this is my 6th year on the board, but I may not be here next year. The boards change, and each board has the ability to change practices. But if we, corral the next board or the select board that's 5 years from now into a position that they can't move from. I mean, I'm not a real fan of the internet, personally. I don't use it. I think it's made our country stupid. So I'm less apt to corral that group of selectmen that are gonna be here 5 years from now into having to use it. They get to make that decision, just like we got to make the decision, how we're gonna progress. And I think, the more constraints you put on a board of selectmen, the less management you get out of them, I think. That's just my personal, but that's what happens.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Again, this conversation was brought up as a recommendation. The only reason that I am sitting here is because of the email that I got back from Kemi that said, the board wants you to come in because they think this is a decision not one person can make. And it truly is not a decision for one board member to make. It is a decision for you folks to make as a board. That's why I put it in the language that I put it.
Yeah, we had an issue earlier that I had one position, but I thought was a reasonable one. My 2 fellow selectmen had a completely different position. So it's good that you brought your information forward. It's good that you were calm enough to come in. But we are all subject to our own opinion about how we want to operate this board of selectmen. And at some juncture, we have to have a consensus or a 2-to-1 vote.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're in agreement. This is not like I said, this is not, the intention of this is not to come in and thump the table and say, you're in violation. Obviously, you're not. The question is, as a board, do they want to stay with just accepting the minimum requirement of the RSA? Or do they want to make it a more efficient process for everybody, make it easier to access more consistently, and go beyond the minimum standard? My hope is that you'll talk it over and do a little research and decide, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we should look at going beyond the minimum standard and improve the efficiency with which the information comes in and goes out. That's all.
Well, you've certainly given us food for thought, and thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's the whole intention.
Guy?
It's obvious to me that you pay attention to things in town. I wish more people would do that and show up at town meeting and vote. I thank you for coming in, and I will definitely give that a lot of consideration the following week.
And you all have my email. I think you all have my phone number. If you want to talk about it individually, collectively, share drafts, happy to do it. Just let me know.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Enjoy your
coming
evening.
You too.
in. Okay, you've done the signature file.
Yes.
Okay, we've got some action items. Can we do those next?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
We still don't have our transfer.
No, I still don't have a transfer station.
I called them, left them a message.
Primex is inquiring to know whether we want a refund of the premium holiday funds or credit. Its property and liability is a refund of $2,887.15. Workers' comp is $2,061.98, and unemployment compensation is $1,849.93 for a total of $6,799.06 And we generally take the refund. We do not because,
That goes back in the general fund,
it
right?
goes, yeah, it goes back into the general fund, and it doesn't complicate any renegotiation on next year's health and property liability, or not health, property liability, workers' comp, and unemployment.
I have no reason to object.
I make the motion that we notify Primex that we'll take the refund and put it back in the general fund.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
In the fall, we generally review all of our insurance policies, and having $7,000 worth of credit just muddies the water a little bit.
Understood.
Okay. Brian Sheehan sent an email. Would it be possible to add on a dead end sign to the existing street sign on Friends Point Road? We're getting many people coming down our street looking for lake access. They then have trouble turning around to leave when they find out it's private. Thank you, Brian Sheehan.
I'm familiar with that piece of road, and that's a reasonable request. I would move that,
Have the road agent install a dead end sign?
yes.
There is public access down Millstone Point Road, I think it is.
Well, we're not restricting public access to anything that's public, we're just saying it's a dead
Just
end
saying
when
it's
you
a
get
dead
out
end.
and.
No, I'm saying there is
Yeah.
boat access
Yeah.
down that way.
Yeah.
So
I'd make the motion that we have the road agent install the dead end sign as requested.
Second, I think that's a
Okay.
reasonable request.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you'll get that, Tammy, you'll get that to Jim. Okay, this is from Rob Wood, our assessor. I was speaking to a taxpayer, and HW, I don't know who that is, was concerned that there were
It's supposed to be who was.
there were large boats taking up a lot of space at the town beach, and that they were not actually Tupper taxpayers that owned the boats. Also, a gentleman was in the town since 17 wanting to know about the 2 canoes that with outriggers parked at the beach, 19 Mile Bay. Said they were not a resident, and I explained that they were being used for Parks and Rec, for a boating program. He was not happy. He said he would like to be able to put his kayak in there, and I told him that he could.
Put it in the water, but
Yeah,
not
put
leave
it
it
in the
there.
water,
Put it in
correct,
the- Oh, at the,
Yeah, not store it there.
correct.
okay.
And then that's a third one.
Marie Coleman, people parking boats at dock that should not be there. I couldn't get my coffee. All right,
Okay.
all right, so you can bring, I guess, as far as is this the pier at 19?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a public pier, so people can park there even if they're not residents of Tuftonboro.
I think she's talking about her spot in particular.
She doesn't have a
Because
She
spot.
doesn't have a spot
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
She doesn't have a spot on the public. I don't have a spot, why should she have a spot? Jesus. No.
Ah, so today's entertainment.
All right. No, if she's from Whortleberry Island, I would think she may have a spot in the collective marina there, the condo docks.
Right,
Which
And
is out of our
that's-
control.
that's what I thought she was referring to, someone
Yeah.
was parked there.
Well, if somebody's parked in her spot there, then she needs to call the police, not us. We don't control that. So you talk to Dennis about the outriggers, or just make a note that there was
Somebody was inquiring about them, about why they were parked there, why they were
there's
beached
a
there?
complaint, yeah, just so it doesn't.
Yeah, I'll-
Blindside them,
sure.
and,
Can I get a
yeah, you have.
copy of this?
And we've got another one here, the Joint
Kevin.
Loss Management Committee
Got a
met
copy of that.
today. And as a safety precaution, discussed the need for continued signage at Melvin Wharf and 19 Mile, indicating that the beach is closed to all activities from dusk to dawn. We already talked about that,
Yes.
I think. And I don't remember talking about that. I was at the Joint Loss Management Committee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that coming up. All right,
Good. Enough for that. Excellent. Got through that.
correspondence. All right, Police Department memorandum. This
Can I
is,
just take this?
Yeah, if you don't need it, sure.
this is just a letter from the police department explaining how they had a deer hit them going 60 miles an hour. I think it was a deer that was going 60, but at any rate, there was damage to the cruiser. Standard wetlands dredge and fill. A letter from Tyler Phillips to Darlene at Department of
Environmental Services.
Environmental Services. Okay, he's discussing the need to move the property line.
Right.
I spoke with the homeowner today, and
You broke
he's,
through.
I'm sorry?
You broke through. You got
I
it.
saw him there and I pulled in and, nobody says, notice somebody driving a blue car. So, no, the guy was fine. The citizen was fine. He loves the idea. His biggest issue is the plane.
Yep.
I said, it's not anything about the plane, this is
Yep.
just about the wharf.
Right.
So he's on board with having the property line adjusted.
Good. Tyler may not know that. You might want to inform him that you had that discussion with him. I don't know.
Tyler said
It
he-
looks like it was all right, but
Yeah,
just to back up Tyler's.
yeah, I have been in discussions with the landowner to the north,
Mhm.
Southworth, and that's Mr. Southworth,
Okay.
is who I spoke with.
Good.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Wonderful. Just keep it moving. Maybe we'll get it done.
And then this is a, further email from Tyler with a conceptual drawing, as well as some back and forth with the office. And we've got the, Department of Environmental Services drought update. I think that might have ended, but it's getting better, it's raining, or it has been raining. Department of Environmental Services to Jennifer Coulter, our town clerk. About a request for information for standard dredge and fill permit. Employer contribution rates for the retirement system have changed, so they're actually going down.
Yes, I noticed that.
Group one is going down a quarter of a percentage point, but police is down 2.6% and fire is down 2.6%. So it should positively affect our budget next year. Board of Adjustment notice of decision. Board of Adjustment notice of decision, another notice of decision. Okay, and we've got speed counts from our signage. What people are, how many people are driving on the roads. I think there's a sign now on Union Wharf Road.
Yes.
There's one on
Yeah,
Ledger
one of
Road.
those is for middle,
This is for Middle
yep,
Road.
and that's Mountain Road.
Oh, and that tracks, huh?
Yeah, tracks the speed and the
Yep.
number of cars.
Cool.
So, and
Where it's placed, it seems to be doing pretty well. Going the other way, I'm doubtful that anything's had any effect. I'm aware of.
It only has an effect if you actually post the road during the time of maximum speed and usage. So, maybe the next time the chief comes in, we'll talk about that. Selectmen's update.
There was a planning board meeting last week that I did not attend. I don't think there was anything exciting in it anyways. A announcements and whatnot.
Had some people ask me some simple questions, nothing out of the ordinary, easy to answer. Direct them to the website, believe it or not, to find their answer in better language than I can put it. They found it, they were happy. Transfer station didn't come in, they got issues up there. Can't get rid of the metal pile, giant brush pile that's there that can't get hauled away. They really don't know what they're gonna do. According to the men working there, I should say, that were there at the time, transportation costs are keeping people's trucks off the road. I don't know. I did get contacted by a fellow who had a solution to our waste oil disposal problem, wherein they would provide 2 55-gallon drums, and when they were full, they'd come get them and put 2 more 55-gallon drums down, so that all we had to do was put the oil in the 55-gallon drums. They're not worried about contamination because they know the water and the antifreeze will settle to the bottom. I have information of who to get a hold of that I will give, with your permission, to the transfer station attendant tomorrow when I go, if he's there. And I think it's a good idea to look at it. If it works out and we don't have to pay to get rid of waste oil, seems like a win-win situation to me, but he may know of caveats that would prevent us from doing such a thing.
The only question I would have is what kind of liability does that put on the town having?
I don't know.
Does this person have to have liability, in any kind of liability? I think we need to run it through our insurance company, something like that.
Well, first I think
But I
we
don't
should
have
have
a problem with it.
Chris check it out and get all the details so that we have something to present to the
Yeah.
insurance company.
Yeah, I
If
think
you
it's a
guys
good
think
idea.
it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain license requirements for anything like that,
Mhm.
especially when it gets over a certain gallonage.
But the thing of it is, a phone call costs almost nothing these days.
Mhm.
So I would like to do that tomorrow when I go. It's all right with the board.
I'm in favor of the concept.
Yeah, I am too. I don't wanna spend a lot of time on it. We're only charging $2 a gallon and we don't charge it, you know, Ed's Garage doesn't charge anything, so
Right.
it's an underused asset that we could spend a lot of time.
We don't need to beat it up, Alex. I'll just pass it on to Chris. If he thinks it's got merit, I'm sure he'll come to us with it. That's all I have.
Okay, I brought up the Tyler Phillips and the
Mm.
and 19 Mile Pier activity that I did. The Senate Bill 401, I think it is, got signed into law last week, which is going to increase our highway fund automatically
Our block grant we get.
a little bit. But it also reopened the bridge fund.
Hmm.
So the bridge fund is funded again with surplus from the operating budget. The downside of that is it's a typical friggin' Republican way of doing business that drives me up a wall. Every member of the governor's council is gonna get a proportion of that bridge money to distribute the way they feel is necessary. That's not how you run things. That's not how it's ever been run. Bridge aid is bridge aid. You know, I went to the last bridge meeting, and it's getting late, and I haven't had my nap. I went to the last bridge meeting that they held up in Conway,
Yep.
and they said, oh, yeah, it's all done by me. And I said, you tell me that this road in Dorset,
Yep.
Beaver Pond Road, has how many residents on it? They just got $1 million to rebuild a bridge on Beaver Pond Road in Dorset. And I'm looking at a bridge on Tuftonboro Neck that services $1 billion worth of real estate and is the only access to those houses. And I'm now being pushed from 2026 to 2032. That's a problem. And so when they said the bridge aid was open again, it made my heart jump. But then they said it was all gonna be based on whatever Joe Kenny decides needs to have a bridge. So if you have Joe Kenny as a friend, please call him.
Well, can't we invite him here? Would he
I
grant
know.
us audience?
He might.
Well, he came
He's
to
not
Union
running.
Wharf.
Is he running?
I don't know. He came to Union Wharf though, when we asked him to.
He came once.
When we had well, he did come.
Right.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
And you're free to ask.
Well, I think we should ask as a board. I don't know him personally.
I don't know him personally.
Well, I do, so, okay, we can ask him as a board.
think we
That'd
should.
be fine.
Nothing wrong
See
with
what
that.
happens. We are getting our grants are all submitted for the hazardous mitigation money for culvert repairs.
Mhm. Good.
It sounds as though we may be the only applicant, so
Even better.
maybe we'll get it.
You better chance.
$1.6 million for Blade Hill Road.
Thank you, Cammy, for doing all that
Yeah.
write-up, all that work. Well
So
done.
Thank you. You'll have to do it until you better pay.
Thank me.
Chip helped me a little.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. And we have to remember to let Kathy know when our next day meeting is, because we have to talk about some cash flow issues that we've got vis-a-vis the 126, which we've spent 60 of in the highway department. There's another 126 coming in. Plus, we're gonna wanna talk to her about the fire station signs, the grant, so that if we do have to pay the 29,000 up front and then get reimbursed, that she's prepared to do that.
Mm. Doesn't it sound like it's something that we have to worry about?
No, but we need to walk people through so it doesn't come up.
Sure, and the faster it gets done, the better, in my opinion. Why wait till the last minute? If we can actually get the thing, get them ordered, might even get them before the end of the year, you never know. I know, I'm hopeful and optimistic, but still.
So as we go through, probably as August approaches, this is gonna be a budget committee here, meeting.
Right.
So did we decide I was gonna stay on budget?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
However, I have a keen interest in attending those meetings as
Well,
well.
yeah, more the merrier.
I usually go,
And,
because sometimes the representative looks at me and said, what did we say about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to post that.
I know a lot, Guy.
I know, I don't expect you to know
But I
everything.
don't know everything.
Or remember everything, I'm the same way, I'm with you.
No, and actually when I started on it 6 years ago, Lloyd showed up at every meeting, so
Well,
it's not an issue, and sometimes it's helpful.
we would have to post it though.
Yeah, well, we should anyway,
Yeah.
I think, because you may decide on a when that you wanna go too.
Yeah.
We're not making any selectmen decisions, but we're all three in the same room, so we can get
Yeah.
post them. But anyway, that's coming up. We've got, well, we don't have to do that until September. At some point then, we're gonna set the tax rate, and that's looking like it's going in the right direction substantially, so we need to figure out how much of the reserve money we wanna use for that, and how much of it we wanna keep on board.
Right.
So, I think that's about it. Do we have any other public comments?
I have a comment.
Sure.
In reference to a metal pile buildup at the transfer station. Do we only deal with one contractor to take that metal out, or do we have several that we can ask? Or has anybody asked?
That's a good question.
I can't answer that.
If the transfer station superintendent had come,
He would,
it would have helped us.
I can stop on my way home, it's right up the street,
You might have got your answer tonight.
probably.
If he's home when you go by, stop.
Yeah, I kind of find, well, we can't truck anything away because the cost of trucking is too much. They set the rate every time they show up.
Yeah,
They don't contract for a year and now fuel prices have gone up to $8 a gallon or whatever they are. No, they set the price every time they pick something up from us, so.
so they could raise it to cover their fuel cost if they want to.
Right,
We'd
Why
make
they're
less-
not coming to do it, I don't
We'd make
know.
less money on metal.
So,
right. And we certainly have enough metal up there.
Mm-hmm.
it's big.
And so I think we need to talk to Chris, so
Mhm.
next Monday when we meet, are we meeting next Monday?
Yes.
You two will
Yes.
be.
Okay, the next Monday, let's see if we can't get Chris in here next Monday.
Yep.
And is it at 4:30 or is it
No, 9 o'clock.
at 9 o'clock?
Nope, sorry.
No, it's a 4:30.
Till 4:30.
First and third, we
Get
did.
him in early, or Grandpa gets upset. All right, any other public comment?
Are we gonna discuss my discussion?
What do you want to discuss?
Yeah, what, we did last week, we had a non-public, Joe, and I wondered what is the question?
Well, you just, okay.
No.
You just changed everything, okay? In reference to this guy here. I'm looking for, and you just said, as far as the minutes are concerned, you can't have these people, you can't tell them what to do. My question here is, with the video from now on, this video camera isn't traveling all over the place, number one. At some point, we get the budget committee. I did wish I was at the planning board, but I couldn't be there. There are other important issues going on in town that,
But let's not confuse those two things. Videotaping the meeting does not constitute minutes.
no,
So
that's fine.
that's a public service, it's not legislative.
But it does let the people know what's going on in the town.
Right.
Can I chime in on that?
Sure.
It's his conversation.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into a big discussion on it. What
No,
I-
I'm just curious, if the video is done as part of the town, or is it a completely non-related?
No, it's contracted, we have a contract.
I'm
with-
contracted
Joe.
to do it.
Then I think under that wonderful little statute we were talking about earlier, they may be part of the record and therefore must be available.
Oh, yeah, they're part of the record, but they're not the minutes.
No, they're
That's
not
all-
minutes,
that's all
correct,
I'm saying.
correct.
And I guess, from my perspective, we budgeted for Joe to take meetings. As long as he doesn't exceed the budget, he's gonna take meetings. If we wanna change that, then we do that at budget time. I think that's the only fair way to,
So business as usual with this exception,
what exception?
that camera and that microphone.
Right.
Does that answer your question, Joe?
I
Yeah,
mean, you're not here for a month, we gotta do something.
that's correct. But the way we keep talking around here, I don't think I'm gonna get a month off. If the budget committee's going to meet, are they gonna meet in this
I
room?
haven't gotten the notification yet, but we should meet the first part of August.
Will you meet in this room?
I don't know. I'm not the chairman, I'm just the selectman member. I don't get
I
to
understand
choose.
that, okay, and we've been back and forth for years and years and years. I'm just trying to find out, okay, if we're gonna be eventually, assuming I'm not around anymore, okay? And it was always important for me in this town to do what I do, to let the people know what's happening, okay? Just in reference to this person here, you look on a calendar and it can tell you where the meetings are and what they're being held or what time of the day it is, okay? You can get all your information from that, and I always felt you could walk up to the person recording the stuff and get a copy of the minutes, okay? I don't care about that. I care about, where am I going to be and what am I going to be doing if I want to continue. I don't want to let this feature drop that I've been doing for the past 17 years. I want it to continue. I want the people in the town to know
Okay.
what's going on.
This isn't the day to talk about what's happening.
That's what I'm, s-
Okay,
sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
your position is funded through the end of the year.
That's correct.
Okay, when we start talking budgets and line items, then we'll start talking about what your future looks like. Okay? Because I can't speak for these two gentlemen.
No, that's
And I
fine.
can't speak for the staff. I just will speak to the fact that you're on the budget for the balance of this year.
Right.
If a movement starts that says, we don't need that anymore, then you're gonna be included in that discussion and you're gonna have to sell the program that you wanna sell.
Okay, that's all fine and well.
But none of that's gonna happen before November.
But if I'm not around for the rest of the year, does that mean every single board is gonna meet in this room in front of the camera? Or are we going to?
No, not at all.
It's not gonna happen.
Well, we have the camera other places, but if you're not gonna be here for the rest of the year, because you're a line item in our budget, you have a certain obligation to let us know that.
Oh, no, absolutely. Oh, okay, hypothetically speaking,
Okay.
that's what I was trying
Or
to
provide
say.
a substitute for yourself.
Right. Or,
Mhm.
What are you doing? You said you're a workaholic.
All right.
Okay, that's what I wanted to bring forward to this
Okay.
conversation, okay? I was just trying to find out where I stood and what, but like you said, you just answered it, okay? They don't have to, you can't tell them to provide the minutes to put on the website.
so minutes are a totally different thing.
It's a conversation, let's put it all together. Video, camera, talk, the whole bit. It's all one thing. At least it's the way I see it.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say.
Any other public comments?
I just want to make it clear for anybody that's listening that I don't want to speak for these two, but I think I can, that none of us have any interest in preventing you from doing what you're doing.
I understand it. My portion here was to get somebody to take my spot eventually if I wasn't around anymore, to provide the service to the town, to let them know what's going on. That's where I was coming from, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. We're taken. Anything else today?
I didn't take my nap either.
I could do a short non-public to discuss personnel issues.
I'm okay with that. If
You make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion, we go non-public, 91A, this, apostrophe that, personnel.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for playing.
Always.
Thanks for coming in.
All right,
Camera's still on.
Good to meet you guys.
Take care, good night.
Is the camera still on?
At the moment, yes.
Oh.